a lot's happening in the world of banking, and more importantly, we're seeing amazing three factors that are happening in every organization: margin compression, exponential scale, and infinite possibilities. Margin compression is really everyone's working 10 times harder and they feel like they're standing still. Exponential skills, we're seeing 10x, 100x, 1000x gains that are happening. And more importantly, infinite possibilities. You can actually build and code at the speed of thought. The question is really, how do you deliver on velocity? I'm here with you, Michael, talking about some of the things that you've been talking about at Citizens. Share with us your Agentic AI journey and how you're getting to value. How are you actually delivering on outcomes and in the middle of all this change?
Yeah, we've been on a huge modernization journey at Citizens. The last 5 years, we've modernized about 90% of the application.
Wait, 90%?
90%. Completely moved to the cloud in 5 years.
Wow.
So we're completely 100% of our apps are now in the cloud. So we've moved our mainframe to Z Cloud. So, and we're building upon that, leveraging AI. We've constantly used, machine learning for deterministic outcomes, but now we're moving into the generative AI space. So we put together a structured program. We've got 99 use cases right now.
Wow.
31 of them are in production, and we're seeing real value from them. We're seeing reductions in, I'll give you some examples, reductions in time to market. So it used to take us 14 days to open a business account. Now we're opening those accounts in 1 day, in 3 hours, in fact.
3 hours?
3 hours.
All right. So ML to Gen AI and now Agentic AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
More.
Well, Agentic AI, we're really looking at the end-to-end processes and really reimagining them. So you think of things like fraud, claims, processing. There's so much is manual today, but we want to get to a point where we're increasing our throughput from 18% straight through processing to 60% straight through processing. And we're using agents to do that.
Wow. So, Nagesh, what does that mean in your partnership with Citizen?
Absolutely. These are exciting times. I mean, you've heard a lot, Ravi talked about how we are, creating this whole AI builder.
Yeah, you're builders.
Yes, indeed. That's where we are trying to focus. It's actually addressing that velocity gap. How do you actually make sure that citizens can realize the benefits and the approach that they are taking in terms of modernizing the applications and being able to do it quickly, right? So what we're working with them in terms of bringing those domain-specific skills and capabilities, people who understand the context, the environment, and the enterprise, citizens, how they are doing things, what they're doing, what is the entire process. I mean, Michael talked about reimagining the business process. We got to understand not just the domain, but in terms of citizens' context, how are they actually doing it today, and how do we actually reimagine, and how does it actually address some of those issues in terms of straight through processing or increasing throughput and being able to do it faster and better, and leveraging AI and being able to really make sure that there are enough guardrails around it and people understand the operating model with which we are delivering those capabilities.
Nagesh, where are you seeing the value of adoption in Agentic AI? I mean, you're looking across all these different clients and you know what's working and what's not working.
When we look at Agentic AI, there are 3 key things that are needed, right? One, obviously, understanding the context of an enterprise. Yeah. They are going and talking to the client. Mm-hmm. It's important to understand the context of the enterprise, what's happening within the enterprise. Right. Every enterprise is unique. And more specifically, in a banking environment, financial services, each one of them have built processes over years, and they are built very uniquely, right? And we got to understand that, the whole enterprise context. The second important aspect is to understand the domain, the business process. When you're trying to reimagine something, you got to make sure that you have got that end-to-end view. You are able to really think through, how this is going to impact the organization, how it's going to impact their operations team, how it's going to impact their end clients, right? And make sure that, are we aligned with the regulatory and compliance requirements that, typically have in any financial services organization. And the third important aspect is the talent that's got the experience that knows the domain and also the technology depth. Well, today a lot of things can be done through your AI tools, and we are cutting short the timelines, with the AI tools. But we still need to make sure that are we doing it in the right way? I mean, the talent should actually have the right technical expertise to be able to validate, verify, and make sure it's in line with the industry standards and the expectations, and also aligning with the business process and the client expectations, right?
One of the things that you said that was so important to me was really the word experience. We think expertise is a commodity today. The technology expertise is the commodity. The ability to connect the dots by domains and by industries, by understanding the geos, expanding the regulatory environment, that's really where we see the experience coming up. And so that notion of actually, it's been flipped, right? The business side of the house, you have your opportunity to rewrite and rethink of what you want to do.
Yeah, that's precisely the reason why, if you have actually heard Ravi talking about being an AI builder, we want to be an AI builder for our clients, be able to bring all of these things together and build an ecosystem, and we are able to serve, help our clients in transforming their business.
Now, one of the hardest things is really going from pilot to conception to commercialization, and going from pilot to actually a model that works. Michael, you did 47 of these at the same time. How? Explain this to people, because most people haven't even done one.
We set off with a vision from our CEO. We wanted to reimagine the bank. And so we kicked off 47 initiatives. We announced that it's going to yield 450 million in saves or revenue generation over the course of the next 3 years.
Wow.
So a very coordinated program. About half of those 47 initiatives leverage AI in a very significant way.
Wow.
And so, it's really, we're building it into people's DNA. We really think that one of the use cases is software delivery.
Oh, yeah.
So we are completely, we have 1,000 people now with Cognizant in our global capacity center in Hyderabad. Every one of them is using Copilot, using Claude Code to develop code. And they also have tremendous banking business acumen, which, as you pointed out earlier, is so important. But we're seeing about a 30% productivity uplift in the programmers who are leveraging these new tools. And we're even getting benefits, frankly, where we're using COTS packages, because the delivery cycle times for our releases, the testing that we're able to do leveraging AI is so much faster.
Right. I mean, the CI/CD cycles and testing are fully integrated.
Right.
And as you start building repos, you're basically just calling a repo. At some point, no human will ever have to check in code.
Right.
I mean, we're getting to that point. What are you seeing in terms of building this out for citizens and other clients?
Absolutely. I think the key is to actually define that operating model where we are actually able to do it, right? So I'll just take an analogy here. I mean, both of us are Formula One fans. So, this is an analogy that a lot of us take regularly. Right? I mean, it's about how do you change the wheels of the car while it's running. Yeah. Indeed, if you go to Formula One, I mean, you also,
they're done.
Yeah, it's done in 2 or 3 seconds, right? So it's actually, literally changing the wheels of the car while things are going on. So it's about building that operating model, being able to do, work in that 2 swim lane model, where things are, there is a business that's running.
Yep.
We got to make sure that it's running efficiently, and we are able to optimize that to the extent possible.
Yep.
And we are also able to invest and bring the right talent, the right domain, the right skills to do some of those pilots and execute that at a much faster pace. And then the key is to be able to see how we can actually squeeze that, how we can bring efficiencies. Michael talked about the whole development, the life cycle, how are we able to reduce it and squeeze the timelines, and we're actually working on that. But all of this, obviously, part of the operating model is to build the right guardrails.
Yes.
So it's important to build the right guardrails, and we've actually leveraged our Cognizant Secure AI services to be able to build those guardrails and do it more efficiently and still win the race.
There you go. Trust and security, super important. We do see that going forward. So Michael, when we think about what you're doing with Agentic AI, there's also a human factor. Talk about the human factor and how you're making sure that the human factor and the machine factor with AI are working well together.
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't see AI, Agentic AI, replacing people. What we're seeing is that we want to reskill and upskill those people. So we're very customer focused. What we want to be able to do is have our bankers spend more time with their customers.
Yeah.
Whether it's a client representative talking to a commercial customer, whether it's someone who walks into a branch.
Yeah.
So this technology is going to free up time for them to do that. And we're measuring that. We measure call handling time, how much time we're spending with the customer, how much time are we able to offer them products that we weren't able to offer them before, because we're leveraging AI to increase the knowledge that they have. In terms of onboarding customers more quickly, as I said earlier, we've reduced the cycle times for some of them to days instead of weeks. So it really becomes a much less friction experience for our customers. We rolled out our new mobile app, we call it Leapfrog. 2.5 million customers are using that app now. So, and they're able to do a lot of self-service rather than call into a contact center, but able to service a lot of the basic type of inquiries. What's my balance? When's my paycheck due? When's this mortgage payment going to go out? Basic type of questions they're able to now do on their mobile phone. Yeah.
Thank God for agents, right? I mean, those are the like most basic questions, but the highest volume of questions and a lot of repetition.
Right.
So you want to be able to get to those earlier.
And we've been embarked on a massive training program. So 18,000 of our colleagues have been trained in, and we've rolled out Copilot.
What you're saying on training is really important, because as some of these jobs morph into other areas, what you realize is that it's a big gap between what you're trying to do next. And if you don't have the understanding of how the transactions work, you won't even be able to get to the next level. So you're going from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. Pretty soon, everyone's skilling up, right? Because the easy problems are no longer there. The more complicated, more human interaction requirements are there, and that requires the training. And a lot of people miss that.
That's right.
Okay, so the human factor is really important, Nagesh. What does that mean when you're working with your partners, working with your customers to deliver?
Absolutely. Now, I'll take the specific example of Citizens Bank only, right? I mean, we've been working with Michael over the last 9 months, as he's mentioned. We've actually scaled up close to about 1,000 people in Hyderabad. 3 unique and distinct things that we've done, right? One, we've actually launched a platform called SkillSpring, which is actually used to train each one of these, the talent that we have brought on board on domain and technology, and make sure that they're really conversant with the business process, the technologies that are being used. The second thing, that important aspect that we've done is actually we've built something called a Citizens Academy. We do that for every client. Now, this Citizens Academy is the context of the enterprise. We have put effort over the years. We've learned a lot about Citizens Bank. We've used their help in building the Citizens Academy, and everyone that gets onboarded is actually going through this certification and learning through the Citizens Academy. The third and the most important thing, I think this is very important, when you're building these kind of capability centers, almost visualize like a twin that you are building. Yeah. It's a twin to the corporate.
Yes.
And they are integral part of the overall ecosystem. It's not like you're asking someone else to do the work. We talk about digital twins, so we actually have built a twin, and that's how we are able to deliver so many pilots together with Citizens Bank team. This is like unprecedented moment and unprecedented kind of things that we have delivered over the last 9 months to a year.
Yeah, no, I love that, because the digital twin allows you to do the simulations that you couldn't do before. It allows you to test out scenarios before you go live. And that's important.
And the other thing that we've also done is actually set up an innovation center specific to Citizens Bank. And sort of, if you actually see the center, it's almost like a bank, Citizens Bank there in Hyderabad, and everyone operating in that environment. When I go and talk to them, they say, we are actually from Citizens Bank. That's how they feel and respond.
Well, that's amazing. We're seeing massive changes in banking, financial services. We're going to see these for quite some time, but it's nice to hear these stories of where people are actually getting Agentic AI up and running, more importantly, business outcomes and the value. And it's nice to see, wow, 47 projects, which is pretty incredible. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Nagesh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.